Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Where to start? Normally this time of the year, it's a quiet time in politics and life, people winding down. You got your best ofs. What would people looking back of? What are they going to be talking about? But this last 2 years has been an odd world with coronavirus here, and obviously Omicron has now arrived, and that's kind of been a dud, although the Brits are reporting we have our first death from someone with Omicron. And I was telling them, look, it's been a dud. Let's be real. They named it early. They freaked everybody out in the media, and the media got a chance to freak everybody else out. And the reality is most people are like, let us know when it's real. But now there's a death, and I was just telling the guys, is it like, okay, was it a 100-year-old person, an OAP, old age pensioner, as we call in England? Oh, it's an old age pensioner. Somebody's got 12 comorbidities, smoked their entire life, was having some heart issues, came to the hospital, caught Omicron, and that's what they're like. We'll write down Omicron killed. No, we don't know. The reality is, though, if you've been shopping lately, you'll notice something, and that is called inflation. And the holiday season is taking more than it's giving.
The staggering inflation that is hitting Americans right in the wallet. Prices were up 6.8% in November compared to a year ago. That is the biggest increase in nearly 40 years. The cost of pretty much everything is surging. Food, gas, electricity, housing, cars, and clothes.
Fuel prices up 58%. Hotel rates up more than 25%. Car rental rates rising 37%.
And those who received raises this year are seeing them wiped out by skyrocketing costs.
Yeah,
Listen to this. By one estimate, expenses for a typical American family have shot up by about $4,000 in the past year.
Oh, but wait. It's only going to go up like 1 or 2%, and it's going to be temperate. No, it's not. It's not. It's not going anywhere for a while. It's not going anywhere for a while. Several reasons across the board. Several reasons. Energy prices being one of them, the workforce being kind of discombobulated, so there are less people trying to take on more. You've got the supply chain issue. There's a lot of things. But it's amazing. Last week, Biden and his people took this victory lap with their 2-cent drop in gas. Like, oh my God, it fell 2 cents. I go celebrate. I don't know what we're going to do. What do you think of those apples? You like apples? Yeah. How about gas apples? What? But it's no big deal, right?
The downside is prices have gone up because of supply chain concerns. We've worked as hard on the supply chain concerns. I think you're going to see, you've already begun to see, and you're going to see over the next couple months, oil prices, prices of gas pump come down. The biggest, a third of the increase in inflation is used automobiles. It is a real problem. Point is, that has to do with supply chain as well, but it also has to do with the fact that not everybody's looking for a used automobile, but those who are, they're paying higher prices because there's fewer of them because of COVID and what was sold out and the like.
What? You make no sense. No sense. Not everybody's looking for one. Well, if not everybody's looking for one, that means there should be more. If not everybody's wanting one, there should be more. That means prices should come down. People... It's insane. I felt it, shopping over the weekend, finishing up my Christmas shopping. Stepdaughter's birthday yesterday, so did some birthday shopping over the weekend as well. And I tell you what, it's right there. You feel it. You see it. You sense it. You understand what's going on. People are still out shopping, but everybody's grumbling underneath their breath how expensive it is. Everybody's upset about the fact that, oh my goodness me, can't believe how expensive gas is. They're all doing, what are they talking about? What is keeping them up at night? It sure in the how, right, isn't, wokeness, pronouns, how much mass transit we can have. It's the cost of stuff, period.
Workers do have more leverage now, but it's time for them to go back to work. I, quite frankly, don't care whether they're ready or not. It's time to go back to work. If the president continues to give people excuses not to go back to work, he's not going to get over this problem. And saying that I'm working on the supply chain and working on everything else is something that this public's not going to understand. He needs to acknowledge the problem. He will not acknowledge the problem. And people then think he's not getting it.
Yeah. I've said all along, one of the things that drove me crazy about Trump was when it came to this in particular, the coronavirus. There was chaos at first, and then he just ignored. You acknowledge the problem. Hey, guys, we get it. We're all going through it. We're all frustrated. Let's figure this thing out. Come on, let's get it. Let's sort this thing out. You acknowledge the problem and then do what you can. You can't do everything. But when you go and you take credit for something that maybe you didn't really have anything to do with, know that if things go south, you're going to get blamed for it. And we're always looking for the blame. Who could we blame? Whose fault is it? We need somebody's fault. You're the one. It's frustrating. People are frustrated, and they should be. They should absolutely be frustrated right now. I feel like we got a stagnant shrinkflation, an economy that is who knows what. And you've got workers out there who don't want to go back because it's in their favor at this moment in time, they think, to stay at home. They've had enough to live off of for the foreseeable future. They want something better. Why that's happening, what's happening is inflation is going up because people are getting back in the workforce. Not getting back in the workforce, guess what happens? Prices start to rise. Why? Because you've got a different kind of supply chain issue, one that's local made. This is what people are frustrated about. Can Biden do some stuff? He can do some stuff. Is he going to be able to fix it all? He can't. He can't fix it all. But acknowledging it, coming out, doing what you can, that's the first step. And then, of course, you've got the other side of which is the Omicron BS, which you get a lot of people are saying, quite frankly, I'm kind of over it. Kind of over all of this. Kind of sick and tired of this frustration of start, stop, start, stop. You've got cities across the country who are implementing more and more things. Now, what is it, New York, $1,000? $1,000 for mask violations? You've got, we're changing. That used to be 2 shots is it, but now it's like, it might be, 3, 4, 5 shots. Pfizer's like, hey, we're already looking at our 4th booster. It's nuts. People are frustrated. And when you have cities and states that are going to do their own thing, you're going to have bizarre looking metrics when it comes to the way that stuff's getting done in the economy, which is going to add to it. You'll have some states that are fully operational. You'll have other states that are start-stop or operating at 60%, which is going to cause more and more issues. And then, of course, you've got the health side of it. How many boosters do I need?
Should we be expecting yearly boosters?
George, it's tough to tell. From an immunological standpoint, it could very well increase the durability of protection by things that you can't readily measure by the level of antibodies, that you might have a maturation of the immune system that would prolong the durability. You don't know that, George, until you just follow it over a period of months. If it becomes necessary to get yet another boost, then we'll just have to deal with it.
How many boosters we need? And I think people are sick and tired of not feeling like things are there's transparency there. They want to be able to see what's going on, understand something. That's part of it, is being engaged. Part of it's being a part of what's going on. Keeping people, hey, look, here's the deal. I'm not here to scare you. This is what we think we know about this.
We're getting anecdotal information from, not necessarily confirmed yet, that the level of severity appears to be maybe a bit less than in the Delta.
There you go. Just come out. Say we monitor stuff. We look at stuff every day. And then we move on with our lives. We'll let you guys know when something is to be worried about. Until that point in time, move about the cabin freely. Get on with your life. People want transparency. They want honesty. That's what they're looking for. Transparency. Honesty, just put it out there. You don't have to tell us everything, because we don't need to know everything. There's a reason we don't need to know everything. People panic. But you can at least be a little bit more in front of it all. All of it adds up. Whether it's Omicron, inflation, you name it, you start putting it together, and we have man-made this nightmare. And then you go and you look, and this thing's less severe. You've got kids who have mental health issues like they've never had before. We're looking around even schools now, big schools and big hospitals that were all about vaccine mandates are pulling them off. slowly but surely saying, yeah, you know what, maybe we overdid this. Maybe that lost year plus was a nightmare. Maybe this was too much. Maybe it was. It was. Not saying it's something you don't pay attention to. I'm all about going and getting the shot. You call it a vaccine. I call it a shot. You go get it. It's good. If you get sick, you won't get that sick. It's no different than getting the flu shot. We shouldn't freak out about it. But when you have people that are loving the power that they have, this is where you're going to get the inconsistencies when it comes to spending money, when it comes to supply chains that are all local made, and it all adds up. It's things like, yet another opportunity with the Omicron to come in and slap more regulations on things. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Lots to get to today. Nightmare in Kentucky and throughout parts of the South and Midwest. Just an absolute horrific thing. We talk about it all the time. We say it, and times we joke about nature messing you up. But once again, nature showed what nature can do. 323-538-2423. Calibrate. Weight loss. Not always about willpower, kids. Sometimes in life, even when you get to a point where you think, you know what, I'm controlling my calories and trying to work out a little bit more. My body's in a position, though, it doesn't seem to be doing anything. Well, guess what? It's a reason that traditional diets don't work. And sometimes no matter what you do, it just doesn't seem to work. And part of that has to do with your metabolic system. How about a reset with that? That's what Calibrate does. Through lifestyle changes, it is simple and easy. It works with anybody's schedule. You get an app that goes with it, right, that's fully integrated. You get one-on-one classes, tracking community members like you, medical care, including a video doctor visit. And the reason for that is because you're going to get doctor-prescribed, FDA-approved medication, and you pair that with lifestyle, and you see what happens. It improves your metabolic health. So what happens is your body's used to being at a certain level, and it's comfortable there. When it starts to make drastic changes, it then kind of essentially, that's why you need the reset. It's that simple. Calibrate's earliest members, on average, lost 14% of their body weight, beating the 10% average weight loss seen in clinical trials. Right now, save $50 off the 1-year metabolic reset when you use promo code Chad at joincalibrate.com. Your weight doesn't reflect your willpower. Joincalibrate.com. Use code Chad. Save $50 right there. Joincalibrate.com. Use code Chad to save $50. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show, where we reach across the aisle and occasionally poke someone in the eye.
I know we've lost more than 80 Kentuckians. That number is going to exceed more than 100. This is the deadliest tornado event we have ever had. I think it's going to be the longest and deadliest tornado event in U.S. history. We know that one of these tornadoes was on the ground over 227 miles.
Yeah. Andy Bashir right there talking about it, a horrific incident over the weekend. And it was, some of the satellite imagery is terrifying. But, we've talked about, what nature can do when nature wants to. You have towns that no longer exist, essentially. They no longer exist. There was a photo, just like a picture, that was 240 miles away from the house. Is that insane? Small tornadoes touched down throughout several states over the weekend. The death toll, it'll be days before they figure that out, well into 100 or so, plus. And it is, when you hear some of the people talk about it, and of course we live in a time and a day and an age where we have the ability to do something different than ever before. And that is live stream. One woman did. Kayana Parson Perez live streamed from under the rubble of horrific tornado.
We are trapped. Please, y'all, get us some help. We're at the candle factory in Mayfield. Please. Y'all, please send us some help. Somebody please send us some help. We are trapped. The wall is stuck on me. Nobody can get to us. Y'all, please. We can't move. Andrea, calm down. Whew. Y'all, please, y'all, pray for us. Try to get somebody to come and help us.
You hear that, and you're just like, my goodness. After everything, she talked about what took place.
Kiana Parsons Perez, one of the workers who was trapped inside that candle factory in Mayfield, Kentucky. You may have seen her video of her saying that she was trapped. Kiana.
From the time it struck, we were all in the shelter area. And then my ears got to popping. And I'm like, why are my ears popping? I'm not driving through the mountains. I'm not on the plane. Why are my ears popping? And then the lights went out. The lights were flickering. And then we just did like a little rock, boom. And everything just came down on us.
Boom, like that. And, you know, they've got the sirens, they've got the warnings, they were there. But the reality is, again, nature does what nature does. And it's terrifying how fast it is. Now, I've been in a hurricane. I've been in horrific storms in Florida on a few occasions that were tropical storms that came out of nowhere. I have been through God knows how many earthquakes. And when I was a young child, my dad played in the St. Louis Cardinals organizations. We were in Tulsa. I was very young, very, very young. And there was a couple situations with tornadoes, but nothing that was ever anything where it got near, but, you know, some warnings. But it just shows you how fast something can come like that. And I've always said, you know, and of course, you know, you had what's his name come out, the president, Biden, and a few others, and they're talking about, oh, it's all because of climate. It's not. This is deadliest sense. The reality is more people live in places than ever before, and you're in the heart of it. And it's terrifying, and it comes, and it's nature, and this is what nature does, and it's unfortunate, and it's horrible. Now, what do we do to get the people to help? And that's the big thing. Of course, Red Cross, you can text them. Tornadoes, I think it was to 9,900, 900, something like that, and donate a quick $10. And it is tragic. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Elon Musk is Time's Person of the Year. I think it's a fair thing. We were thinking what else could be it. Like the computer was it one year. Wasn't coronavirus it last year? Was coronavirus it last year? Or was it healthcare workers? I don't know. It's like so. I thought maybe supply chain, inflation next year might be the Person of the Year at the rate things are going. Like it's a fair Elon, though. Over the weekend, I was laughing. He said, I'm thinking about quitting my job and becoming an influencer. Oh, my Lord. Crazy. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Love hearing from all of you. Inflation is very real. Could it be the Person of the Year next year? Absolutely. At the rate this thing's going. Again, Biden's like, he tries to explain something. I'm not sure what it is here.
The downside is prices have gone up because of supply chain concerns. We've worked as hard on the supply chain concerns. I think you're going to see, you've already begun to see, and you're going to see over the next couple months, oil prices, prices of gas pump come down. You know, the biggest, a third of the increase in inflation is used automobiles. So, I mean, it is a real problem. Point is, that has to do with supply chain as well, but it also has to do with the fact that not everybody's looking for a used automobile, but those who are, they're paying higher prices because there's fewer of them because of COVID and what was sold out and the like.
No idea what he's saying there. But it's real. It's definitely real. And his numbers, though, are not great for him. And don't think that they don't look at these. They look at these every day. It's part of that, read the room, right? Take the temperature of the audience. Find out what it is. Every day they're out there reading the room, taking the temperature, trying to figure out what's going on, and they're looking at the numbers.
Americans are feeling the pinch of higher inflation, and President Biden is feeling that impact in a new ABC News Ipsos poll. His approval rating dropped across several issues, with inflation at the forefront. More than 2 in 3 people, 69%, disapprove of his handling of inflation, and that includes 71% of independent voters. The COVID-19 pandemic is the only issue where the president's above water. 53% of people approve, but that's also the lowest point since he took office. His overall approval rating, according to 538, is at 43%, a new low. Ron.
So you got a new low overall, hovering in and around there. The economy's not good. And then you've got Omicron that's dangling out there, and of course inflation. And here's the kicker. We're done. This fourth quarter and the big run that we had, it's over. You've got one more weekend to Christmas shop. Is that going to save anything? What does it look like if numbers are ugly early on next year? The panic begins. The shine is worn off. It's a year in the office. And now you've got other things out there that you're trying to toss out there, which is the Build Back Better bill. How do you think that's going to help inflation?
The Democratic Party, to stop the madness, stop Build Back Better, because Build Back Better is going to be a death blow to our economy. The provisions in the bill will dramatically increase energy costs. Build Back Better aids and abets the enemy of inflation.
Some of that's true. Not going to lie to you. Some of it is ugly. And, you know, when you sit back here and you look at the cost of this, the fossil fuels, it's tough to pitch America to get away from fossil fuels when you don't have a real reliable, everybody using 24/7, always there when you need it scenario in energy. And then you're talking about getting off fossil fuels while they're still living on fossil fuels at a point where, while they're still living off it, they're seeing the prices go through the roof. And we talked about it earlier. Was it $4,400 or so is what the average family's expenses have gone up this year? Just let that settle in on you. So almost $400 a month extra this year for an average family. Almost $400 extra. You feel that.
There's been a 58% increase in gasoline prices because of inflation. If Build Back Better became law, it would dramatically reduce the ability to extract fossil fuels in America, and it would lead to higher energy costs.
Again, I'm all for cleaner fuels, but you got to do it in such a way that's real. I'm all for cleaner fuels. I'm all for more energy efficient. Let's look at nuclear. Let's look at a lot of different things. We don't want it. Well, you know, it's like you put this, and so much of it is this cult-like weird world that people live in when it comes to climate change. And they go out and it's become their religion. And anything that you throw out there, they usually shoot it back at you with no. This could be this, or it could be, it's insane. But as energy goes, and we're feeling it. You're $4,000 extra. What would you do with an extra 4 G's right now? How would you feel about an extra $4,000 right now? Not to mention the confidence that goes with this, because the consumer confidence is lagging now. And that's a huge indicator for me that we could be in some more trouble than we think. Then you've got to talk about the Build Back Better, which he still can't get done because you've got people who are going, yeah, I'm not quite sure about this. Yeah, I don't really think so. You've got an election that's coming up less than a year from now. And, oh, by the way, just out of curiosity, what's the actual cost of this for real?
Friday, the CBO estimated the true cost of President Biden's social spending bill is not $1.75 trillion as advertised, but a staggering $4.9 trillion.
That's more than you said. That's more. Like what you said was, 1.5, 1.6, 1.7. I mean, we can, wander around here because we know they're going to pick and choose and take a few things out here and there. But you're now talking about almost $5 extra trillion. And then who do you think is going to pay for it? Us, the taxpayers. Oh, we'll get it from the rich. You ain't get it from the rich. You know that, and I know that. You ain't get it from the 1% the way that you think. They're already paying enough. We want them to pay more. Everybody wants everybody to pay more as long as it's not them that's paying more. Have you noticed that? And for all of you out there, you can always give more. Says so right there, right? When you do your taxes, you can give more if you want. It's right there. Nuts. Now we're looking at that. That's a lot of money. What do you think that's going to do for inflation? The more we spend, what's it really going to look like? And again, you're asking the media, too, to critique some of this stuff. Let me tell you something. The media is getting a lot of money out of this. You think they're going to come down hard on it? Probably not. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Shows your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Do love hearing from every single one of you. So, New York is thinking about doing something. Now, I'm going to tell you guys this right away. This is not just a slippery slope. This is insane. But the reality is even until the 20s, non-citizens had opportunities to vote in a lot of things. And it just wasn't local elections. Now, across the country, some places, and by non-citizens, let's suss this out. But again, this is a situation where it starts small. We know how it starts. It starts small, the slope gets slippery, and then all of a sudden it's too late. So New York City is set to be the largest U.S. jurisdiction to allow non-citizen residents to vote in local elections regardless of citizenship or immigration status. What? Yeah. So if you go back in time, voting rights weren't always tied to citizenship. Founding fathers didn't really dial that up in a certain way. In fact, until 1926, 40 states allowed non-citizens to vote in various times throughout American history, some of them not just in local elections, but state and federal as well. And it's obviously changed throughout the last 200 plus years. So you've got Alabama, Arizona, Colorado, Florida, and North Dakota taking steps to preempt such provisions, right? 2 Vermont towns allow non-citizens to vote in local elections. But it's a slippery slope. And, okay, you're a citizen. You become a naturalized citizen. You have the right to vote. If you're a long-term resident and you've got a green card, maybe you own a business and a home, should you have the right when it comes to school board elections and local tax to have a vote? I could see somebody easily making an argument for that because you're contributing to society, you're here legally. It is, though, that slippery slope that people are going to see go sideways because we know that's what ends up happening.
So a few days ago, the news comes out that the city of New York proudly announced that they will no longer require you to be a U.S. citizen in order to vote in their elections. Now, look, there's a lot of crazy stuff going on in the news these days, but not requiring people to be citizens in order to vote, that takes a special kind of psycho. That's crazy talk. I mean, there's a line, and that line's been crossed a long time ago. This is way beyond the line. This is like, way out there at a level that I can't even describe.
I think they were saying that's a habitual line stepper right there. Again, school board elections, one thing. Local taxes, if they're raising taxes if you own a home here. I think if you're a homeowner in situations where, you're a legal resident here, you own a home, should you have the right to vote in a tax situation that may raise your property taxes? I could see an argument made for that. Legally here, zero problems with making an argument for that. This isn't that. And again, it's a slippery slope because somebody will come in and go, why is it fair that somebody who's here legally but owns a home, they get to do that, and somebody who's legally doesn't? What about the people here, their kids go to school, even though they're not really here legally? There is where the slippery slope begins.
And so here's what I'm going to do about it. I'm going to file a bill in the Senate, and I'm going to pursue it as an amendment every chance I get that basically says If you're a place that doesn't require people to be U.S. citizens in order to vote, then you shouldn't be getting U.S. citizen taxpayer money. You're not going to get federal money. And we're going to find out who thinks this stuff is crazy and who thinks this is all normal, the way we should all go. Because this is insanity. Complete insanity.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think it's insane, too, because I understand the slippery slope that's coming. Again, you can make arguments, and they may be very cogent arguments about things. People that own businesses here, people that own homes here, their kids go to school here, they're all here legally. They've got visas, they've got green cards. All that being said, we know that in what they call it, like it's in the spirit of what we were looking to do, ends up being, no, it's not about that. In the spirit of what you're looking to do, the people that are pushing this out there are people that what? Usually want more and are fine with the slippery slope because that's what they were hoping for. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program, MyPillow, no supply chain issues here. Deepest discounts across all of the MyPillow products, from the MyPillow, the lowest price ever, to the mattress topper, which I absolutely love, to the My Slippers, the cardigans, the Giza Dream Sheets, the towels, you name it. They've got everything at the deepest discount ever. You get a 60-day money-back guarantee, 10-year warranty, and there is no supply chain issue. So you order now, you're going to get it the holiday time. You order now, that's what you want. It's coming. You're not having to worry about what may be going on somewhere far away, or if some ship is stuck in some harbor somewhere or port. That stuff doesn't come into play. Wanted to make sure that everybody had what they needed for the holiday season, and that's what they've done. So this is what you do. Go to MyPillow.com, use promo code Benson right there. Checkout. Take opportunity to jump on all these deep discounts, including the lowest price ever for the MyPillow. And it's MyPillow.com, promo code Benson, save big. MyPillow.com, promo code Benson. Chad Benson Show.
I can't take it anymore!
Well, get over it. It's time to forge a new path with your very own political cartographer, Chad.
All right, let's talk about my awesome weekend of football picks. I only had one regret this weekend in football. I picked that damn Washington football team to continue to do okay, and they stunk up the place, Phil, and I blame you! Just want to let you guys know that. Got the Vikings right. I don't know why I thought the Jets were going to win. I thought, you know what, Jets at home. They're due one. They lost. Falcons, Seahawks, Chiefs, Broncos, Titans, Browns, Chargers, Bengals lost. That was a heck of a game, though. Bucks with the win. Packers last night. Watch that Packer game. Oh, goodness me. Aaron Rodgers is playing on, he's got a bad, I think it's a pinky toe or something. And it is pretty ugly. You know, I mean, for those of you guys who don't know, pinky toes are very needed for your balance, but he's not throwing off of his foot. It didn't matter. He tore everybody up. Right? The only thing they had going for them last night was any kind of punt return or kickoff return. I thought every time that guy got the ball for Chicago, I think he's going to run it back. Those guys aren't going to be able to stop him. He's going to run it back. You guys can't stop him. But it was an enjoyable day. It was an enjoyable day of football. Had a lot of fun doing that. I'm excited. Getting towards that crunch time. We got a couple games this weekend. On Saturday, because there's no more college football. And you got, of course, all day Saturday and Sunday. You still got one big game tonight. And I have the Cards here in Phoenix beating the Rams. This is the last chance. If the Rams want to get back in this thing, and the Cards need this big time. Cards have a few, not too many tough games. They still have a couple tough games, though. Rams being one of them tonight. So that'll be interesting. Over the weekend, a movie came out, and it's called West Side Story, and nobody cared.
Life matters even more than
enough.
Critics love it, audiences not so much. Steven Spielberg's remake of West Side Story bowed in first, but with a mere $10.5 million. Well below expectations, not to mention the $100 million it cost to make. Encanto slipped to second, followed by Ghostbusters Afterlife in third.
LaMarcus is a good person.
The football drama National Champions got sacked in its debut, just $300,000 for 14th place.
Ew. Why did it not do well? People don't like musicals. There's a small group of people that like musicals. It's not, that's just the reality of it. And you're redoing a musical that people have already seen back in the day and they like it. So what about it? That people are going to do? If you want to see a musical, people want to go to the stage. Go to the stage and see a musical. Because they're like, well, it's a musical. I'm on a stage. I can be out of the realm of reality. When you see it in the film, see it on television, people are like, I'm just saying. Just because I don't like musical means that most people don't like musicals. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. You hate music. I hate musicals. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Absolute nightmare over the weekend, in particular in Kentucky. Path of devastation that is absolutely frightening. So the governor talking about the devastation and talking about what's needed at this moment besides just money. Governor Andy Beshear.
We need prayers. We are still hoping for miracles. Every person we find or locate, we're just getting cell service back up in some places, so we are finding people, and every single moment is incredible.
Yeah, it was. Again, it shows you the ferocity and the anger that Mother Nature can bring when it decides to do something. And it was frightening. It really was. The damage is massive, and they're continuing to pull through. Candle factory was absolutely devastated, along with an Amazon warehouse.
Inside the candle factory here, 110 people were working late into the night, trying to fill orders for Christmas when the tornado hit. The factory finding some of its missing workers overnight, now saying at least 8 were killed in the factory and 8 more are still unaccounted for.
Yeah. And so you had this just amazing confluence of they're calling like again, that supercell. And you had some of these things were on the ground for 200 plus miles, and they were everywhere, and they were popping up, and they hit several states, but Kentucky took the brunt.
At least 40 reported tornadoes tearing through 9 states. Here in Kentucky, one tornadic supercell carving a path more than 200 miles long. At least 34 lives lost in 5 states. Among the first names confirmed, District Judge Brian Crick in Kentucky.
Now they're saying they're going to get well into the hundreds, and you've got people that are trying to pull people out of people that thought, hey, so-and-so was working but wasn't, or such and such, was going to be at her girlfriend's house or was at, my mom's house, and they weren't. So it'll be a few days before all of this gets really, sussed out. But the damage, and some of it, when you look at some of these things from above, you realize there's nothing left.
The scope of the damage here is just unimaginable. To be honest with you, it's hard to put into words what we've witnessed here over the last 24 hours. Much of this town of Mayfield simply wiped off the map.
Yeah, there's nothing there. Like, it looks like when they show pictures of Hiroshima and Nagasaki the day before and then satellite from the day of, it is houses and then there's nothing. It's just debris. It looks like, when you go to a landfill. That's what it looks like. Devastating. Absolute devastation. Biden and everybody getting on board to figure out exactly what they need to do.
President Biden is set to be briefed by top administration officials, including Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas and FEMA Administrator Deanne Criswell, about the federal response to the devastating tornadoes across several states. Mayorkas and Criswell traveled to hard-hit Mayfield, Kentucky over the weekend to assess the damage and offer federal support. The president has approved an emergency declaration for the state of Kentucky to free up federal funds to assist with the state and local response. Elizabeth Schulze, ABC News, Washington.
Yep, and of course the Red Cross and a bunch of people are jumping in. If you want to help, you can go to redcross.com and you can text as well, 90999. Make a $10 gift today. It's simple and easy. Check out their app as well, but devastating. And we joke all the time about nature messing you up, but here's the reality of what nature can do. Here's the reality of what nature can do. It can devastate in a heartbeat. I've been through earthquakes and hurricanes and cold snaps that are frightening. But and I've been through some tropical storms. I always told you, the tropical storm I was through was terrifying because I was on the road, Florida. It's a young guy. My friends, we were going from California to Florida, and we did. And on the way back, we got hit by a tropical storm, and it was frightening because you were seeing water spouts, and we were stuck on a bridge, and it was terrifying. But then, earthquakes never really scared me because it was like, it's an earthquake. You really can't tell. What are you going to do? I mean, these houses are built in such a way that they're meant to withstand this. Not that things can't happen, but this is something that is terrifying. It's there. And you can get a warning and you can get the things that you need that you think you're going to get. But if you don't have a place to go, really it's Russian roulette. It's Russian roulette. If you don't have a place to go, you're thinking, please, God, don't let it come towards me. Please, God, have it twist and go another way. Please, that's what it is. Because you'll even see in some of these pictures from the satellite, they're showing down there's complete and utter disaster in neighborhoods, and there's a house standing. Scary. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet, text, love hearing from all of you. All that being said, I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but I shopped this weekend, which you guys didn't know. But what I did do was get angry because it's so damn expensive for stuff that wasn't as expensive as it was last year. And I know they're not having some supply chains with some of these things. But here's the other thing. Again, I go back to gas. I go back to the gas. What we hear last year? Inflation's going to go up, but it's only going to be like 2 or 3%. It's going to be okay. It's going to come down in the summer and then maybe the end of the third quarter. And it's like, well, maybe at the end of the year. It's not going anywhere. And think about how much it's cost the average family.
The staggering inflation that is hitting Americans right in the wallet. Prices were up 6.8% in November compared to a year ago. That is the biggest increase in nearly 40 years. The cost of pretty much everything is surging. Food, gas, electricity, housing, cars, and clothes.
Fuel prices up 58%. Hotel rates up more than 25%. Car rental rates rising 37%.
And those who received raises this year are seeing them wiped out by skyrocketing costs. Listen to this. By one estimate, expenses for a typical American family have shot up by about $4,000 in the past year.
That's massive. $4,000. When you look at the cost of everything, like fuel, number one, meats, beef and everything gone up, huge. I mean, you could start breaking down how ugly some of this is, but you feel that. And you can't lay everything at the hands of this president when it comes to the virus, because the reality is the virus isn't going anywhere. It's endemic, not pandemic. We're going to have different waves of this thing. Right now, the Omicron, which doesn't seem to be too deadly, but you go to cover of, any of these websites now, they got their first death in Britain with the Omicron. Was it really a death because of Omicron? This person had no underlying conditions, was in the perfect health at 43 years old and he got struck. And then, no, it's the usual stuff, but it's there to scare because if it bleeds, it leads. But you look across all of these things, we're in a position again where we're struggling and we're going to have an unbalanced economy because you're going to have places like California and New York. They're going to shut down partial places. They're going to make it harder for people to work. People are worried about, what about schools? Well, other schools across the country are saying, we're over this. We're done. We're done. We're over this. We're not having kids. We got 90% of our kids are vaccinated. We're not telling kids they have to stay at home. They're not ready for Zoom school again. It's going to be very bizarre to see the way that plays itself out because parents I know are worried about it. But if you had an extra $4,000 in your hand today, how nice would that be? If you had an extra $4,000 in your bank account, if you paid off some stuff, if you used that for Christmas, how good would it be? Some of this you can look and say, all right, you came in here. It's been not a great first year. Energy prices have gone up, and there's some things you could have done. Absolutely, there's some things you could have done. You're talking about printing more and more money. And you got a good infrastructure bill, but that thing's going to be a while before we see anything in the fruits of that. That's going to be years. Now you're talking about the Build Back Better bill that's going to cost God knows how much. According to new estimates by the CBO, $4.8 trillion rather than 1.5 or 7 trillion, whatever the hell it's supposed to be this week, if that's the one that passes. Because remember, Manchin and Sinema are like, you start checking off the things, and of course the energy prices were all one person's waiting for is what? A phone call. You don't want to make that phone call to MBS. Totally understandable. Totally understandable. But people are feeling it. And when you've got a midterm that's coming up where you don't want to look like you're a person who's in a situation where you're a lame duck for the next 2 years, especially if you get boat raced and Nancy has to hand over the gavel again, and Mitch is like, it's mine. Mine. Give it to me. Give it to me. That's where we're headed. And you better figure it out sooner rather than later. And most importantly, get out in front of it. Be transparent. Talk about it. Make people feel that you're engaged. Even if there's not a ton you can do, feel like you're engaged. Feel like this is the thing you're working on. We're working on the coronavirus stuff. We've got it going. You got a chance to get your boosters. You got a chance to get your stuff. We advise you go do that, but we need to really focus on this because you guys are feeling it. People vote with their pocketbooks still. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson. Shoo is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Speaking of inflation, meat's gone up like 40, 50, 60% in some areas, depending on what it is. Here's what you need to do. OmahaSteaks.com. Enter Chad into the search bar and save big. 50% right now. OmahaSteaks.com. Enter Chad in the search bar when you order the perfect gift package for $99.99. Never, ever under $100. Bacon wrapped fillets. Boom! Chicken breast, jumbo franks, sides, desserts, so much more. We've already eaten all of ours up, and I absolutely tell you, if you're worried about price, there's no supply chain, there's no worries, there's no extra cost. The cost of this is virtually nothing when you think about all the things you're getting, because I haven't even told you the other great part. 8 free burgers when you enter Chad in the search bar. So you go to omahasteaks.com, enter code Chad. Maybe it's somebody's birthday, right? Because my birthday's next week, so let you guys know that. Maybe it's somebody's Christmas. Right? Your dad, your mom, you guys love barbecuing. Yeah, you're still, that sounds great. Maybe it's you because you love to barbecue, even for yourself or for the family. It's the perfect gift package, under $100. Enter code Chad in the search bar when you go to omahasteaks.com, and you're going to get 8 free burgers when entering Chad in the search bar. Do it now. omahasteaks.com, enter code Chad in the search bar. omahasteaks.com, code Chad. Chad Benson Show.
If you're part of the politically exhausted majority, don't fear. Your time to be validated and rejuvenated is here. Wake up. It's the Chad Benson Show.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. Liftoff.
Now it's time to find out what's trending. What's trending?
Yeah, what does that mean? I mean something, right? Like it's trending on the old internet. What's trending?
Let's take a peek, find out what's trending on the old interwebs. Let's start with Google. Champions League draw was made today. Big time. Some big-time teams in there. But over the last 24 hours, the biggest thing searched in the United States of America is Vicente Fernandez, El Rey. Mariachi icon, ranchero singer, passed away. An absolute hero. My grandmother loved him. Packers, Cowboys, all trending yesterday as well. Packers got by the Bears. Cowboys won. Lamar Jackson, what's that about? Hurt his ankle. How bad is that going to be? Is it serious? Looked like a high ankle sprain. Couldn't even walk on it. It was on a walking boot on the way out. Anne Rice passed away. Interview with the vampire author. She passed away over the weekend. She was 80 years old. Miss Universe, also trending. No idea they still did that. So how about that? What? Yeah. You didn't know? I had no idea. They're still doing those things. Carnival cruise ship overboard. Woman falls overboard from Carnival cruise ship off Mexico. What do you bet alcohol was involved? I'm going to read you this, and then you tell me. Woman fell off the Carnival cruise balcony into the Pacific Ocean early Saturday. The incident, which happened shortly after 3 a.m. Oh, my God. I'll tell you what. Head over to Twitter. Alcohol is involved. By the way, if you've never been on a Carnival cruise ship, Carnival has really nice ships, and then that's just a floating kind of party boat down to Mexico for like 3 days. And that's what it is. It's drinking and partying, and that's it. COVID-19, Omicron on Twitter is absolutely trending because one person has died from it in the UK. So everybody hide under your desk, according to them. Oh, what? Yeah. That's don't do it. Chicago Bears Packers trending. Green Bay once again got over on Chicago. So funny. I love it. I love it when that happens. And The Secret of Dumbledore also trending. Plus Elon Musk, who was named Times Person of the Year. We were kind of figuring out, like, supply chain would have been one that you might have called the Person of the Year, right? Even though it's not a person, because they've done that before. They did that with the computer. Was it coronavirus the Person of the Year, too? So that was always one. So, but supply chain could have been. But Elon, I'm good with Elon. I got zero problems with Elon Musk. He's funny. He's interesting. He's smart. We need that. He's creative. He thinks outside the box like more than anybody we've seen in a very, very, very long time. And continues to push the envelope. And fly people to space. Actual space. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show. Slang words that you need to know for dating, including soft launch. What? Roaching. We're going to discuss these things. Tweet at us, text the program, 323-538-2423. Fauciing is also one, too. Wonder what that is. Let me tell you what that is. It's being over-serious all the time. And Leah Thomas is a swimmer for Penn. People are not happy about it, even on her team. We shall discuss that as well. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. It's Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Price is up. Holiday season is here. Go out shopping. Saw a funny movie the other day, guys. You guys want to watch a funny holiday movie? Starring Bruce Campbell and what's his name? Devin Sawa and Michael Jai White. It was called Black Friday, about a toy store. I think it's attacked by zombies. But it was funny. But it was so funny on the whole Black Friday thing and the chaos and people waiting outside to shop. And it was enjoyable. It was definitely enjoyable. But one of the toys that people wanted was Dower Dennis, which is his teddy bear. Just his life sucks. And it's just all the time it's like, nobody likes me. I work too much. It was awesome. Prices are up, though, and it sucks. You know it. I know it. It's not getting any better anytime soon. At least that I would say, I think Yellen came out last week, and she basically, 2 weeks ago, and said, look for it to be probably the end of 2022. So that's what we can look for. 2022. Potentially, we'll see the inflation where we are right now, and this year it's cost the average person $4,000, give or take. A little bit higher in some place, a little bit lower, but about $4,200, $4,400. We'd all love that. Oh, baby. But there's a lot of things that play into it. And one of them is obviously the coronavirus and how we deal with it. Not the virus itself. The virus isn't doing anything other than what the virus is doing. And it has now become the Omicron, which seems to be very mild comparatively to the other variants. And one of the reasons is because it killing its host. So if it kills its host, it doesn't survive, wants to survive. So it's trying to find that sweet spot of making itself easily transmittable without killing its host so it can jump from place to place. That's kind of what it's trying to do. Its best. All that being said, we still have insanity of more and more places out there saying, we need more of these things when it comes to mandates. Some cities and states are starting to go, you know what? We might start stepping away from that. You're seeing some of the mandates, not just losing court, but you're seeing some big companies that have put mandates on say, you know what? We're going to move away from those, even some school districts. But the battle is still out there. Asa Hutchinson and de Blasio fighting over mandates.
Never in the history of our country has government mandated the private sector to require vaccinations. It's generally been left up to the states and localities, but to put this into the businesses, one, it hardens resistance. That's what we see in Arkansas, but I think across the country. Secondly, the courts have struck it down. By and large, the president's mandate, these mandates are unconstitutional overreaches.
Yeah. I mean, again, it goes back to the battle of, is constitutionally, can you do this? In a time of crisis, there is great power within the health emergencies to use it, but it's the difference between using something to protect the public and abusing stuff. And I think that's what people are trying to find. What's the sweet spot? What is the sweet spot? Now that we know more and more about these things, what's the sweet spot? Because what I'm hearing now is Delta's still, by the way, the prominent of all this junk that's out there, but colds. Because last year, colds and flu season, they were worried about the twindemic, they were calling it. Why? Because we weren't out and about. Who spreads the cold the most? Kids. Most vulnerable to the cold, kids. But they weren't really in classrooms nationwide last year. In some they were, in some they weren't. In the biggest areas, they weren't. So you didn't have the spread. You didn't have that. You need a certain amount of immunity through being in and around it. That's what builds up some of that T cell immunity. You need just being in and around it builds up some sort of natural immunity. We've got none of those things. So I'm seeing people around here, not with coronavirus, but with colds out 5, 6, 7, 8 days.
If you're looking at 1 million employees and you get a 90% vaccination rate, you still have 10%, which is 100,000 workers. Whenever the businesses are struggling with workers, our service providers, they're providing for their family, you don't need to add 100,000 to the unemployed list. That would hurt us in trying to do our recovery, even in the healthcare industry. If you put that mandate in, you're going to lose some healthcare workers as well.
Yeah, and we're seeing some of the hospitals are pulling back their mandates in some areas because they're at the point where they're thinking, like I think it was LAUSD, I think it was like 87% of school children were already getting vaccinated or have now been vaccinated. So they're like, well, first of all, we don't even have a Zoom class ready. That's the other thing. If you're going to send kids home and you tell them they can't do their work, they have to go somewhere else, you better have something ready for them. And it's showing again and again. The science, remember, it's always believed the science doesn't really do anything to kids. Well, it could spread. It could. But it's not doing anything to the kids. And what's happening to them mental health-wise is awful. And this is the battle that you're going to have going on because we've talked about it since the beginning of this. More and more, what's going to be tough isn't getting through this, because I think for all intents and purposes, outside of some of the insanity that we see cities do, we're through this as best that we're going to be. It's endemic. So hoping it's going to go away isn't part of it. It's now adjusting to it and living above it.
You mentioned unemployment. The greatest threat to employment right now is that the Omicron variant and the cold winter months are going to supercharge COVID and take us backwards. So I'm going to argue to you that mandates work, and it's time. Since I put mandates in place in New York City starting in August, we've seen over 1 million more doses. 71% of our people fully vaccinated. A lot of those people made the decision because the mandate was there, and it was the thing that moved them.
Yeah. That's it. Moved them. Did it really? I mean, so many of these places, we've got 92% now or 96%. Well, what'd you have before the mandates? We had like 88, 9%. Is it really that many people that weren't doing it? But this is the issue that you're going to have. And then you're going to have the insanity. You hear one guy's like, hey, this stuff doesn't work the way you think it does. It really doesn't. And then you've got de Blasio. It's like, the winter's coming, so we got to double, triple, quadruple down. And then you got wackiness like this. Jen Psaki.
I will tell you, I have a 3-year-old who goes to school, sits outside for snacks and lunch, wears a mask inside, and it's no big deal to him. I'm not saying that's the case for everybody, but these are steps that schools are taking to keep kids safe. And I think the vast majority of parents appreciate that.
You're full of crap. My 3-year-old, getting her to wear shoes for an hour is amazing. Getting her to wear pants. Oh, but mine wears a mask. Bull crap. You are so full of crap. Oh, yeah. Oh, it's nuts. Sorry. Don't buy it. Maybe yours does. Maybe you've your child extremely well. My son's 11. He can't wear a mask for crap. Sideways. It's a chin diaper. So your 3-year-old can. Are you really buying that? Jeez. 323-538-2423. It's a cult. You're buying into it. Again, you can be cautious. There's a nasty stomach bug going around. I don't like that. Stay away from people if I know they're sick. Don't want anything to do with it. There you go. I've done my part. Taken my 2 shots, and I told them, guys, I'm going to get a 3rd shot, my booster next week, only because it's convenient. Because it's going to be the same place I am, and the people I know are running like, hey, do you want a booster shot? I'm like, yeah, sure. That's the only reason. I'm not going out of my way otherwise. But I wouldn't worry. That's what you have. And you have a cult of people that, for whatever reason, especially on the left, love this stuff. They dig into it. So you don't care about people. Stop with you don't care about people. It's just as easy to say you don't care about freedoms. You can care about both. But it's amazing. I have a 3-year-old that wears it all the time. In fact, my 3-year-old comes up to me every day and it's like, oh my God, I can't believe how amazing this is. Getting back the power that people surrendered is going to be so tough. Biden gave away too much free money. This is an IHOP. Due to the fact that Biden gave out way too much free money and nobody wants to work anymore, we were forced to reduce our hours during the week, Monday through Friday at this IHOP. 7 a.m. till close at 5 p.m. Saturday and Sunday, 7 till the close, which will be 10 p.m. Thank you for understanding and patience. That's in Arkansas. That's too much free money. And one of the things they were saying that some of the states, it's and I've heard it from a few other places, Indeed, and some other people saying, if there's tons of jobs open, but people want jobs where they can work out of the house now. People want jobs where they don't have to go in and meet with people. Some of that may be because you look at California's unemployment rate, it's like 8% comparatively to a lot of other places, which is near full employment. But a lot of that is due to the fact that some people, they're that worried about it, I guess. You've done your job. You've scared them to death. Now they'll never have another job regular again. Congratulations. Oh, my God. Biden's ruining pancakes now. You're ruining pancakes. My God, you're off. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. We're gonna do a little lingo straight ahead of dating words that you need to know. Dating words that you need to know. It's going to be very interesting. 10 hot dating words that you need to know. Some of them I find to be bizarre. It's the kids, man. It's the kids. I'm telling you, MyPillow right now. Guess what they have? Everything. MyPillow, Giza Dream Sheets, mattress topper. They've got cardigans. They've got My Slippers. They got everything you can dream of because they didn't want to be without. They wanted to make sure they bought so much in advance, knowing full well that they were going to get everybody's Christmas and holiday presents to them. Right now, you can take advantage of deep discounts, too, across everything. The MyPillow's on the biggest discounts ever been right now. So you could save big, big, big. You've also got the Giza Dream Sheets. Get the buy one, get a set for free. You've got the mattress topper, which to me is the best of all products. And the slippers. I'm putting the slippers up there, too. So you should have MyPillow.com, promo code Benson right up there at the top. Take advantage of 6-day money-back guarantee, 10-year warranty, and there is no delay right now. So act fast, though, because the holiday season, as we all know, is not just upon us. We're in the midst of it and heading towards the tail end of it. MyPillow.com, promo code Benson. MyPillow.com, promo code Benson. Chad Benson Show.
Don't let the Washington Beltway strangle you. This is where the exhausted majority comes to refuel, realign, and reevaluate. This is Chad Benson.
SantaCon took place over the weekend. If you don't know what that is, it's where a bunch of people get together dressed like Santa Claus and just get crazy debauchery. I dress like Santa Claus. Just want you guys to know that. I dress like Santa Claus. Once in a great while. I dress up.
Was canceled last year due to the pandemic, but on Saturday, hundreds of St. Nick wannabes cruised the streets of Midtown New York with Santa hats, reindeer headbands, and holiday sweaters as SantaCon returned to town. The annual bar crawl, which raises money for charities, went on despite lingering COVID cases and Omicron concerns. New Jersey resident Bernadette Fausto wasn't worried.
You feel safe, and, as someone who is vaccinated, and I got the booster as well, I am less anxious about contracting COVID-19.
Organizers urged participants to obey the city's vaccine requirements. SantaCon returned to other cities from Boston to San Francisco.
By the way, just to let you know, there was a lot of pictures and some people were upset. They're not wearing masks. People are drunk. Santa's here, kids. And they're not wearing masks. You know who you are. You're not wearing masks, people. I have a 3-year-old wears masks all the time. Says, Mommy, can I wear more masks? That's Jen Psaki. My 3-year-old can't stop wearing a mask. It's like, Mom, if only you guys could do more. Why can't you vaccinate me? All the time. 24/7. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. Do you really dress up like Santa Claus? Yes, I do. Great Santa Claus costume. Father Christmas. More of a, it's a big long coat. It's awesome. If you want to check it out, check it out on Twitter. Put on the old Twitter and the Instagram as well. At Chad Benson Show. Dating is crazy. We all know that. So, there's lingo and language I'm learning. These are things you may do to people or may be done to you. I'm not talking about crazy sex stuff. Soft launch. So what's a soft launch? Well, in a business, you may be saying we're opening December 20th. It's our opening day. But you may have a week where you're open, but you don't really tell anybody you're open. It's a soft launch. This is kind of the same thing. It's like you're dating somebody and you're kind of putting some stuff out there that you potentially may be in a relationship. Subtle hints, they say. Subtle hints. Roaching. It's an unwritten rule that if you see one cockroach, there are probably more lurking in the dark. It's where dating app term roaching comes from. It's described roaching if a person you're dating is hiding the fact they're involved with multiple other people at the same time. That's roaching. Fauching. This one's perfect. I'm assuming mostly people who are on the left do this one. Fauching is the act of turning down a date because someone isn't taking the pandemic seriously. Oh, zombieing. By now, you've probably heard of ghosting, the unpleasant phenomenon in which somebody abruptly ends all contact. But what do you call it when someone who ghosted you suddenly comes back around? That's zombieing. It's when a ghoster rises from the death. Woke fishing happens when somebody portrays themselves as more progressive than they are, usually on social media in order to impress others. Or that's what we call virtue signaling. They call it woke fishing. Benching. Athletes get benched, removed from the game. What does it mean? Well, when you're benched in dating, first, the practice of keeping a potential romantic partner on hold just in case. We should call that a backup. I don't know. These things all seem rather familiar. Orbiting. Now, Men's Health refers to orbiting as the new ghosting. It's when somebody breaks all contact with the person they're dating in real life, but they continue to follow that person on social media, interact with posts and contents. In other words, they're still within the orbit. They're just not engaged. Cuffing. Yeah. Cuffing. What's this? It's the period during fall and winter holidays from Thanksgiving to Valentine's Day when people are more inclined to pair up with somebody in a committed relationship. Presents, feels like it's a good time to do it. You know what I mean? Pocketing. That's when your new relationship, they want to shout it from the rooftops. That's not the case so much with you. So, pocketing. You're there, but we're putting it in the pocket. And breadcrumbing. It's a big one here. It's when you're leading somebody on. All right? It happens via text and social media. You give them just a smidge of something, maybe keeps you coming back a little bit. Sometimes that's for your own ego. That's breadcrumbing. Those are some of the words you guys should know if you're going to get into the dating world online. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet, text, do all that stuff. You want to see me in my awesome Santa suit, doing some more Santa stuff here in the next couple days. Check it out across all the social media stuff. It's Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
What? That is me. Price is going through the roof everywhere. People worried about that. You know that. I know that. Because we're out shopping. We're living it day to day. You feel it. You feel it when you fill up that gas tank. You feel it when you go to the store. And that's not changing anytime soon. Stagflation is here. Biden's trying to explain something about inflation.
The downside is prices have gone up because of supply chain concerns. We've worked as hard on the supply chain concerns. I think you're going to see, you've already begun to see, and you're going to see over the next couple months, oil prices, prices of gas pump come down. You know, the biggest, a third of the increase in inflation is used automobiles. So, I mean, it is a real problem. Point is, that has to do with supply chain as well, but it also has to do with the fact that not everybody's looking for a used automobile, but those who are, they're paying higher prices because there's fewer of them because of COVID and what was sold out and the like.
No idea what any of that meant. But the fact that he's addressing it, I think, is a bit of a win. This is the way you got to do it. People want to know you're in it with them, right? People want to know you're in it with them. That's what people want to know. They want to feel that you're involved with them. And he hasn't been doing a good job of that. Not at all. He hasn't been, in my opinion, felt like he's paid too much attention to it at all. Kind of done, in many cases, quite the opposite. Had his people, push it off. It's no big deal. Those kind of things. People want to know you're there. They want to know you're dealing with it. Right now, there's a horrific digging out that people are doing, waking up to the fact that their homes are destroyed in about 9 states, that a good portion of Kentucky has lost anywhere between, it'll get well over 100 people. Cities are destroyed. That's why you go to these places. As a president, as a governor, they want to know you're there with them. They want you to see the devastation. They want you to feel the pain that they're feeling. Even if though you can't feel it 100%, they want you to feel that you are there and in it with them. It's the same thing here with inflation. The average family is feeling like, are you paying any attention to what is going on?
The staggering inflation that is hitting Americans right in the wallet. Prices were up 6.8% in November compared to a year ago. That is the biggest increase in nearly 40 years. The cost of pretty much everything is surging. Food, gas, electricity, housing, cars, and clothes.
Fuel prices up 58%. Hotel rates up more than 25%. Car rental rates rising 37%.
And those who received raises this year are seeing them wiped out by skyrocketing costs. Listen to this. By one estimate, expenses for a typical American family have shot up by about $4,000 in the past year.
People want to know you feel their pain. That's the reality. They don't want you to be too detached from it. And I think that's what happens in government nowadays, right? You're in D.C., and you spend more time in D.C. and now in the world of Twitter, which, again, is something that's not real. And in doing so, you are missing opportunities to connect with individuals. When you go back and you look at Bush, Reagan, Clinton, Obama, what was some of the great things they brought? They could sit down with you and they can make you feel like you're the only person in the room and you have a conversation with them, that you connected with them. A lot of the talk about when Biden came in, it's a coronavirus, the way that the other guy did, he was a bit detached from it, thought it was a bunch of baloney, and he was more worried about winning an election and et cetera, et cetera. All of that being said, he spoke to people in a very real way, so they felt like, okay, he understands some of us. Where when you brought in Biden and Biden, became the president, I think a lot of people, he understands it. He has stayed so far away from this. When you go to the store every day, you're feeling it. When you go to the gas pump every day, you're feeling it. When you're looking at the rising cost of everything across the board, from the things that you think, well, how could this be? Right? We've got plenty of these things, to stuff that you're like, well, we're not even be able to get it. And when you're not engaged, that's when people think this person's detached. And you can get that easily in D.C. I live in a border town. I mean, a border state. I've lived in border states most of my life. I lived in Europe for on and off for a decade. But outside of that, lived in California, Arizona, and Texas. All border states. All border states. All of them. And D.C. feels detached from what goes on here when it comes to, illegal immigration. When you see the rising jump in crime that's going on, the smash and grabs, they're detached from it. And it's the same thing here, and I think with government. And that's why when you see people in government come out and say, it's not a big deal, it's only temporary, you don't understand. You're not feeling it the way that they're feeling it. And you've got to be able to. If you don't have that sense of being able to connect with people, then they do something which is called vote you out.
Workers do have more leverage now, but it's time for them to go back to work. I, quite frankly, don't care whether they're ready or not. It's time to go back to work. If the president continues to give people excuses not to go back to work, he's not going to get over this problem. And saying that I'm working on the supply chain and working on everything else is something that this public's not going to understand. He needs to acknowledge the problem. He will not acknowledge the problem. And people then think he's not getting it.
There you go. Chris Christie. He's right there. You acknowledge the problem. You talk about the problem. You acknowledge there are things going on right now that are absolutely a nightmare. You acknowledge the fact that you guys are struggling with the price of energy, and I'm doing everything I can, but are you doing everything you can? You need to acknowledge the fact that, you know what, some of this is the supply chain, and some of this is the things that we need to do to find out ways of cutting some costs to make sure that stuff gets to you. Figuring out how to give people relief, or at least the sense that you understand what they're going through, is a big thing. And at this point in time, I feel like he's missing it. And they're just now starting to really acknowledge it. They've been so focused on the fight of coronavirus. When what are you fighting? You're fighting people that are unvaccinated. Get over it. They're unvaccinated. Who gives a rat's ass? Do you have a vaccine? Yeah. Do you think it works? Yeah. Well, then who cares? They're obviously not scared. Why should you be scared? Why should you create more hell and havoc and chaos? Well, we need to get to herd immunity. It's never going to happen the way that you think. So we just need to deal with it, live above it. Stop fighting the fight that you don't need to fight. Pay attention. People are telling you stuff. Usually when they start telling you things, that's when you go, you know what? Maybe I should start to listen. Stop thinking of them as just, voters. If you have to, think of them as customers, constituents, fellow Americans, whatever it is that gets your ass moving in a direction, that's what you need to do. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Horrible over the weekend. We were just touching on the nightmare in Kentucky. We're going to talk a bit about that, and it is disturbing because we live in a day and age where people have opportunities to live stream and do things, and there were so many you look at them. I mean, and some of it it's awe-inspiring, and then it's terrifying. And some of the before and after pictures are absolutely, wow. Nature can mess you up. We're going to discuss that. A lot of other stuff to get to as well. With all of the jump in prices, in particular things like meat, right? Are you seeing anywhere between 30 and 50% jump, in some cases even higher? Why not do this? Omaha Steaks. Omaha Steaks. Go to omahasteaks.com. There's a search bar right there. Type in code Chad and get ready for the perfect gift. omahasteaks.com. Enter Chad into that bar. You're going to save huge. The perfect gift package, which is great this holiday season. It's great in January, February, March, April, May. Omaha Steaks is great all the time. Less than $100. Boom! What do you get? Well, 4 bacon wrap fillets, chicken breast, jumbo franks, sides, desserts, so much more. But you got to use that code Chad when you do, and they're going to throw an extra 8 Omaha Steak burgers for free. So you're saving 50%. You're getting an extra 8 Omaha Steak burgers. Everything I got in my package is gone. I ate it all. My family and I, we barbecued. We had such a great time. We were laughing. We were decorating the tree. It's just awesome because it doesn't cost a ton. There's no supply chain issues. It comes to you immediately. It ships, boom. So you have to worry about the hustle and bustle and fighting. So whether it's mom and dad, they love to barbecue, right? It's a perfect gift for them this holiday season. Maybe it's you. You love to barbecue, kind of hold court. You would love to have some fillets and some other stuff to offer people, while they're here, because people coming to town. Take advantage of it. $99 today, 50% off. That's what you're saving on your order. omahasteaks.com. Enter code Chad. You can also get 8 free burgers, and you get all of the other amazing things from the fillets, the chicken breast, to the steak burgers, the jumbo franks, and everything in between. OmahaSteak.com. Keyword Chad. Chad Benson Show.
No fake outrage here, just the real thing. The Chad Benson Show.
I know we've lost more than 80 Kentuckians. That number is going to exceed more than 100. This is the deadliest tornado event we have ever had. I think it's going to be the longest and deadliest tornado event in U.S. history. We know that one of these tornadoes was on the ground over 227 miles.
Yeah. Horrific. And if you've not seen some of the damage in parts of Kentucky, it looks like the before and after of Hiroshima. If you've never seen any of those, where you look down and you see a city before, and then the next day, there is nothing. I mean, there is nothing left. Nothing. It looks like a landfill. That's what I keep telling you. It looks like a landfill. And you're looking at 9 different states that felt these tornadoes, but a large swath of this in parts of Kentucky where there's just nothing left. And we live in a time now where you're able to do something that you couldn't do before, which is, I mean, you go watch those weather shows back in the 70s, 80s, even the early 90s and 2000s. They were out there filming in their cameras and stuff when they saw stuff, and you saw some things. Now everybody has a phone. Not only can you film it, you can live stream it. That's what one person did. Kiana Parsons Perez live streamed what she was going through after it had run its course.
We are trapped. Please, y'all, get us some help. We're at the candle factory in Mayfield. Please. Y'all, please send us some help. Somebody please send us some help. We are trapped. The wall is stuck on me. Nobody can get to us. Y'all, please. We can't move. Andrea, calm down. Whew. Y'all, please, y'all, pray for us. Try to get somebody to come and help us.
Yeah. And they did. She spoke about what took place afterwards.
Kiana Parsons Perez, one of the workers who was trapped inside that candle factory in Mayfield, Kentucky. You may have seen her video of her saying that she was trapped. Kiana.
From the time it struck, we were all in the shelter area, and then my ears got to popping, and I'm like, why are my ears popping? I'm not driving to the mountains. I'm not on a plane. Why are my ears popping? And then the lights went out. The lights were flickering, and then we just did like a little rock, boom, and everything just came down on us.
Yeah. Boom. That's it. Boom. Like that. I've been through hurricanes, deep freezes. I've been through, I don't even know how many, some tropical storms, some really bad ones. And I've been through so many earthquakes. Nothing like this. I mean, and it just shows you how fast things could change. And like that, boom, it was on. And it hit, and the next thing you know, even with some warnings, even with some of those things, it's still the luck of the draw. Where it's going, what's going to happen, how fast is it actually getting upon you? Do you even have a place that's safe to go to?
I was trapped. The water fountain was in between my legs. Co-workers were pinned up against me, and there were people at my feet to get somebody said, y'all can just get this up. And my co-worker said, Kiana, I can't. There's an air conditioner unit behind the water fountain. We all had our bouts with panic, and then they had opened it up enough so that they were able to get my co-worker who was wedged right next to me, and they pulled her out. When the search and rescue people came, I'm like, if you can just get this off of me where I can move my leg, I'll be okay. And he says, ma'am, there's about 5 feet of debris on you.
5 feet of debris, but not dead. And that's a blessing.
I'd been down there for over 2 hours and my foot was numb. I couldn't feel it. My right foot, we had finally got my left foot to straighten up. So I was okay with my left leg and my left foot. They started pulling me up. Now, the entire time I was there, I got on my phone. I was like, they're not going to get to us. So I said, hey, let me go live because I know social media will get word out there. And my thing was that I wanted more people to know that we were stuck because I was afraid that they didn't know that we were stuck. And if they didn't know, then they wouldn't come and save us.
But luckily they did. And again, more stories are coming out. You've got a governor, Andy Beshear, who's doing everything he can. And this talks we were just talking about. Where is he? He's going down there. He's on the ground. Biden's going there in the next couple of days, I'm sure, to tour everything. You have to get there. People want to see you there, even if it's for a moment or two to catch a glimpse and say, all right, you're here. You're part of that. And we go back to 9/11, and I continue to do this. Bush walked on top of that rubble, and he spoke to everybody, but he was there. He walked on top of that, ground zero, and told them they were going to hear us. It meant a ton.
People of Western Kentucky have gone through an unspeakable trauma. I mean, it's traumatic. You being there helping. You go from grief to shock to being resolute.
Yep.
Span of 10 minutes, and then you go back.
Yeah. Awful. Again, you can text the Red Cross if you want to help. $10. Tornadoes to 90999. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
That is us. Chad Benson Show. Hope you guys are getting ready for the holidays. Excited. Final week of the year for us. And then we're going to take some much-needed relaxation off. The hot for the coronavirus. Are you really? No, not. But I did say I am going to get my my next my booster. And why is that, kids? Because it's going to be convenient. It's right in front of me. Somebody goes, hey, we're going to be the place you're going to be next week playing golf. Do you guys want to get shot? I'm like, okay. If it's there, why not? I really need a flu shot, maybe. I haven't gotten a flu shot ever. I've gotten it a couple times. I know there's a nasty flu. I just want the flu. What's the one that protects you from the stomach flu? That's the only one I want. I don't care about the rest of the stuff. Will we need more of these boosters, Fauci?
Should we be expecting yearly boosters?
George, it's tough to tell. From an immunological standpoint, it could very well increase the durability of protection by things that you can't readily measure by the level of antibodies, that you might have a maturation of the immune system that would prolong the durability. You don't know that, George, until you just follow it over a period of months. If it becomes necessary to get yet another boost, then we'll just have to deal with it.
Yeah. Look, it's endemic, not pandemic. It's time to go, hey, guys, life's back to normal. It's endemic, not pandemic. We're moving on with our lives. Get out there and enjoy yourselves. Be careful. Understand what's going on, that there's going to be some spikes here and there. We've got this new thing, Omicron. One person's died from it. By all accounts, a little less severe.
We're getting anecdotal information from, not necessarily confirmed yet, that the level of severity appears to be maybe a bit less than in the Delta.
Okay, that's good. That's what I want to know. It's supposed to be a little bit more transmissible, but for all intents and purposes, it's supposed to be all right. Good. Time to move on. Other things to fight about, other things to argue about, other things to worry about. And that's what we do, because that's what America's all about. We've got inflation going on. We've got, feels like an energy crisis for a lot of people going on. We have an immigration problem that is not being addressed, right? But you got VP Harris on it, so you guys should feel good.
7 new companies coming on board to invest millions of dollars in El Salvador, Honduras, and Guatemala, known as the Northern Triangle. Company chiefs on hand with VP Harris. Pepsi's to expand operations with $150 million. Cargill will invest in their local supply chain to support farmers. Parkdale Mills is to build a new yarn spinning plant in Honduras. Updates expected on companies brought on board last spring, including Nespresso, Expanding Farms, and Microsoft
as well. If we want to take some of this stuff on, part of what's going to happen is, the beauty of having jobs that we would keep in China. And some of those jobs, by the way, they're stuck there for a long while. Apple signed some sort of deal with the devil to the tune of $275 billion. But it's not just singularly, by the way, and this is something like that, bringing some of these jobs home isn't just about bringing jobs home. Why they don't bring some of these jobs home is because part of doing business in China is being able to do business in China. Part of being able to go over and say, I want to open up a factory here, is the chance that you may be able to sell your wares there, because China is the second largest economy in the world, and it's flourishing, and it's ripe with cash. Well, it has been for a while. Part of doing business there is being able to do business there. And that's a lot of what these companies want, especially major manufacturers, large companies. They just like getting a movie, back in the day, it's like, yeah, you may be a big star in the UK, but if you didn't make it in the US, you're just a star there, right? You may have a few hits in Europe, but until you got here, there was that sense. It's kind of the sense there. So it's being able to do business there. I mean, we may be able to manufacture a large portion of this in places like El Salvador, Mexico, Honduras, parts of South America that would be, for us, I think, better, because I'm looking long-term when it comes to China. At the same time, understanding that pulling some of these things may damage other parts of businesses and worlds. And that's one of the things. When you intertwine in a situation like this, this is what ends up happening. This is what's going to end up taking place. And right now, we've got these kind of bizarre situation where diplomatically we're getting ready to boycott the pretend Olympics. And that's kind of what they are. I mean, like, I go back to it's the Winter Olympics. The NHL players are like, some of us may not come. The stuff that you want us to do. Part of going to the Olympics is, we've talked about this, we saw in Japan, is being able to be around other people and have fun and meet people from different cultures and all of that stuff, and not be basically stuck inside your hotel all the time, or you're, wherever they're going to stick you, where you can't go anywhere and do anything. But the Winter Olympics are like, it's the Winter Olympics. It's the Winter Olympics. 8 countries participate in the Winter Olympics. You got all the Scandinavian countries. You got Germany, France will send some people, right? The Soviets, because that's what I still call them when it comes to their sports, because they're very Soviet-esque in this, where they all seem to, I don't even know if the Winter Olympics, I don't even know if they could participate in that. Remember the Summer Olympics? They had to have pretend flags up. Everybody got to go. You just couldn't work, you just couldn't celebrate for Russia. We're going to go because we have, but it's not, it's like Africa's not sending, every nation sending up 400. No. South America's not. You always go and look and see like who won. It's like, oh yeah, there's some guy in Uruguay won in like 1936, a bobsledding thing. How many people participated? It's 3. It was only 3. He didn't even finish, but he got a medal. But we're taking the diplomatic route, because this is what we're trying to do with China. So migration, people are coming here. It's not just about whether or not we could supply them with some jobs. That might be fine and dandy. But for big companies, it's also about getting into marketplaces. That's a huge, huge thing for them. So, yeah, I think on a smaller level, you can bring stuff here, but they're not pulling out of China at all. They're not, even though we may not be going there for for the Olympics.
The message to the Biden administration is Europe's back making its own decisions. Several EU nations have made it clear they won't be jumping on the boycott bandwagon. France says a diplomatic no-show would have little true impact. Austria, meanwhile, maintains politicizing sporting events like the Winter Olympics doesn't seem useful. China's already dismissed the decision by Canada and Britain to join Washington's diplomatic boycott as a farce.
Yeah, because we're not doing anything real about it. Because we want the almighty buck. We want the almighty dollar. And that's understand. Look, you build a massive business. It takes a lot of cojones to look over there and to say, I want none of that. You see what the people do when it comes to like the movie industry, how they'll kowtow because they want those dollars so bad. How they'll back down in any way, shape, or form because they feel like I need those dollars. They make movies specific. China only allows a few movies a year over there. Last week, we touched on it on a few occasions. Like the NBA was one of these ones that they've given in so much. It's a global game, but they've completely given in to China.
I have to believe there are some guys holding their breath watching this, because if this is sufficient grounds for there to be a diplomatic boycott, then what does it say about the NBA doing business in China?
The NBA is up to its neck in China. China is a huge sports market. Basketball is especially popular there, but they will put up with not even the slightest criticism. And when they can, they exact a price.
Yeah, we saw that. We absolutely saw that. Enes Kanter is one of them.
And the Rockets are one of the most popular teams there because Yao Ming was the first big Chinese star in the NBA. More recently, Enes Kanter, who grew up in Turkey, Celtics, he's a Turk. He spoke out against China. Same thing. Celtic games like that, gone.
Yeah. Arsenal soccer team, when Mesut Ozil, who's a Turk, and he's of Muslim and Islamic descent, said something about the Uyghurs, Arsenal pulled off all the TVs. You know, one of the good things is the Premier League said, well, screw you guys. If that's the way you guys want to be. We're the most popular league in the world. Have a wonderful day. Where the NBA didn't. The NBA didn't. Because, again, it's about as much about the business side of it that people don't see. It's not just about getting your product in there. It's about being your product being able to thrive. So bringing home stuff here in hopes that Guatemala and Honduras aren't going to send people up here who are running from their lives because of abject poverty and the violence that's going on there, it's still the fact that that's probably not a marketplace that's going to be buying a lot of Microsoft products.
Why would you organize games like, Olympic Games in a country where there is a dictatorship and genocide happening? To all the athletes out there, all the gold medals in the world you can win, it is not more important than your morals, your principles, and your values. So it is a shame. And people are, happy about your diplomatic boycott. Obviously, I'm a little happy too, but it is not enough.
No, it's not enough. But we're all tied together. And it's more than just now whether or not you've got jobs there or you kowtow. LinkedIn pulled out. Very few companies now operate on the internet with any way, shape, or form over in China anymore. Because they're just like, it's too constrictive. We can't do anything. It's way too, and they're stepping away. They realize, okay, we've got to step away from this. But it's other sides of the marketplace. LinkedIn isn't that kind of big business that you would find. It's products and goods. It's products and goods. And then you've got situations where, you know what? Bob Costas called it here. The hypocrisy of athletes, in particular LeBron James of the world, is tremendous. But it's a business to him. He's looking at dollars and cents. It's good to be woke here and unwoken there.
By the way, a lot of Nike's goods that benefit the likes of Colin Kaepernick and LeBron James.
No doubt.
Made in China.
Yeah.
And those outspoken individuals, and in many cases, I think millions of Americans would agree with their positions on domestic issues, but they are conspicuously mum when it comes to China. And no matter what the issues are here, and they are serious issues, in terms of dimension, they pale alongside what's going on in China.
I think we...
Absolutely. 110%. but it's a bigger thing than I think people realize. Great that we're moving stuff down there into Mexico to try to stop the flood and migration of people that are coming here looking and seeking better things. But at the same time, understand that for business, it's not just about where we can get cheap labor because we're a consumer-based society. It's also about the fact is where can not only we get into a place where we have a foothold into that country, that they'll also buy our goods and have the amount of money to buy our goods. China offers them that when a lot of other places don't. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program, Chad Benson Show.
You go, boy.
This isn't about right or left. This is just about right and wrong.
Right you are, Chad. The Chad Benson Show.
Life matters even more than love.
Critics love it. Audiences, not so much. Steven Spielberg's remake of West Side Story bowed in first, but with a mere $10.5 million. Well below expectations, not to mention the $100 million it cost to make. Encanto slipped to second, followed by Ghostbusters Afterlife in third.
LaMarcus is a good person.
The football drama National Champions got sacked in its debut, just $300,000 for 14th place.
Yeah. About that. Nobody sees musicals because nobody cares. Chad. Look, I think we all know how I feel about musicals, but if you guys have new to the program, God bless you for listening. Musicals are stupid. There you go. That's it. I mean, I don't know what else there is to say about them. Now, if you can, it's much easier to suspend disbelief in reality when you go to a theater to watch a musical, right? Because it feels like it's a performance. For me, it's hard to do when the Sharks and the Jets are supposed to be a gang, but they're going to settle it by swing dancing. It's not what it's about, Chad. It is. It's stupid. You know it, and I know it. You know it. I know it. Nobody cares. Nobody saw it because, first of all, people aren't going back to the theaters. Now, this week is going to be the biggest real opportunity to see what movie theaters are going to be about in the coming, I would say, year or so. Really, in many ways, maybe for good. I don't think movie theaters will ever go anywhere, but I don't think that movie theaters are going to be around in the same form that we have now. And part of that is because they need to start pricing at a much different level. Spider-Man, Way Home. Here's a perfect example. Comes out the 17th. So you're looking at 2 days from now. I mean, Fridays comes out. It really comes out Thursday night. They're going to have some, from what I understand, Wednesday night showings. But the reality is it comes out Friday in earnest, Thursday afternoon. You could get $15 a ticket, $20. In LA, it's probably already $20 now, but you could get something like that for that. Where Nightmare Alley's coming out. That's the new Guillermo del Toro movie where you're like, it's a horror movie if it was also a cologne commercial. It's not meant to scare anybody, but it's meant to scare your sensibilities. I don't even know what it's about, right? But it's like a thriller, horror, avant-garde. But you're not getting that. You got The Matrix and Sing, right? You could get different pricing. They've got to figure it out. But Spider-Man No Way Home is going to be big. How big is it? That's the big question when you think about it. When you go and look this year, and what's the biggest movie of the year, by the way? Here in America? I mean, it's we haven't any huge boom movies. And part of that is because people just aren't going back the way that they used to. And they got used to watching stuff at home, and they're looking and they're thinking, I don't know if I want to pay that much for that. Not quite sure. So it'll be very interesting to see the way that this thing plays itself out with something like Spider-Man. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. I have the Rams and Cards tonight. I've picked the Cards. I've only lost, I think, 3 games this weekend. We'll give you the final tally, but I have the Cards at home tonight. Monday Night Football should be a doozy. Remember, if you want to help what took place in Kentucky and the people of Kentucky and the surrounding states that were hit by a absolute massive amount of tornadoes, text tornadoes to 90999. It's the Red Cross. It's a quick $10. It's something, and it's a way to give, and there's plenty of other ways to do it. You can go on to Red Cross's website and several others out there. You guys have a blessed rest of your Monday. We got you through it. That's what we do. We'll continue to do it again tomorrow. Follow across all social media at Chad Benson Show. Night-night, Jack.
This is the Chad Benson Show.